When I take the long way home, they haven't had it for a while, and their prices are amazing. 3 cucumber pickles for $1, eggplant 2 for $1, peppers 2 for $1, heirloom Cherokee purple tomatoes. They don't have any of those. But tomatoes 2 for $1. They're beautiful. Zucchini 2 for $1. They're monsters. And squash 2 for $1. And Silver King corn 50 cents each. Those are beautiful. Hi, this is Catherine. We're in Catherine's kitchen. And I'm going to make some Icarian Ratatouille, which is called Soufiko, S-O-U-F-I-K-O. Okay, there it is. The island of, I've been pronouncing it wrong. It's not Icaria, it's Acaria. The recipe calls for 3 large globe tomatoes or beefsteak tomatoes. I have 2. And it calls for garlic. And there are the seasonings that I'm going to use. And the olive oil. 2 tablespoons of olive oil to start. And then we pour in, believe it or not, it's a lot, half a cup of olive oil. This is a good Vidalia onion, Vidalia, Georgia. Very sweet. If you've never had one, very, very good. I usually only get them in May and October, but they seem to be more year-round now. I think that's maybe the best season, is May and October. Brown bit, and it says cut the onion in half-moon slices. I don't usually worry about the stinging in the eyes. If you do worry, you can always just, it works. You sprinkle some water over the onion, or you hold a piece of bread in your mouth, because the volatile compounds in the onion, they want to go to a moist place, and your eyes are very moist. A couple of cloves of garlic. Okay, my potatoes are washed, and I'm going to leave the skin on. I did take off some sort of really dark places. They weren't dirt, but they were really dark, and the recipe calls for scrubbed and cut into 1-inch chunks. Don't peel. 1-inch chunks. There, that looks like about 1 inch. Put those in a bowl. These are local white potatoes. The recipe calls for 2 12-ounce eggplants. I have more than I need, but I measured, I weighed, and I really only have an additional 7 ounces worth of eggplant, and I'm not putting any red peppers or bell peppers in here, so I'm going to add the whole eggplant, which is 31 ounces. It's over the 24 ounces, but I think it'll be fine. It'll make up for the volume of the lack of bell peppers, and it calls for 1-inch chunks. and that will do. I only need 10 ounces of zucchini. I had 2, and I weighed this, and this is a little over 10 ounces, so this will be fine. It says cut it into 1/4-inch rounds. And I might actually, these are big rounds. I think it called for 2 5-ounce zucchinis. This is 1 10-ounce. These are, the rounds are larger than they would be if this were on 2 5-ounce zucchinis. So I think I'm going to, for volume's sake, to increase the volume of the zucchini in the dish, to keep it as it was intended. That might be a little more than a 1/4. But anyway, so I'm going to cut these in half, just to give them, so there's more volume of zucchini in the dish. I have not made ratatouille in a long time. I love ratatouille. Look at this beauty. Local tomato, end of July. It's over 1.5 pounds. I paid $2 for 2 of these at the local stand. And I'm supposed to have 2.5 cups of chopped tomato with the skin on. Some people seed their tomatoes. I don't. This is not a refined dish. If it were, I could see how that would be a good idea, but this is basically a country dish, a peasant dish. I don't think that's necessary. Let's see. Coarsely chopped, about 2.5 cups. I've got my measuring cup. Okay, I was going to use this Dutch oven until I really looked at the volume of vegetables that I have, and I don't think that's good. All of this is going to fit inside there. So I pulled out this big boy, which was a gift from my brother and sister-in-law, Jay and Elaine. Thank you very much. I never thought I would use this, but I pulled it down from above the cabinets, and that's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of olive oil in the pan. We'll get that heated. Then I'm going to layer the vegetables. Start that at the front. Wish I had a gas stove, but I'm working with what I got. I got a very nice electric stove. So we'll start that a little bit on high. This recipe calls for putting the vegetables in and then the seasoning, which usually I like to put the seasoning in first, but I'm going to make this the way it's written. So first we pour in the eggplant. Got our eggplant. That's a lot of eggplant. And then the potatoes. Not as many potatoes. Then we've got our onions and the garlic. Next to last, the zucchini. And last but not least, the tomatoes. Get that going, and then I'll add some seasoning. We let that simmer for 15 minutes. And actually I put the seasonings in, and then I pour 1/2 cup of olive oil and let it simmer for 15 minutes. Using a Greek seasoning. It's a nice big handful, and I like to, because it's dried, this is a little tip that I learned. You just crush the herb mixture with your fingers, and that brings out the aromatics. The Greek seasoning has a lot of the things that I would need in here. Oregano, I think it has some sage. I'm not sure if I'm going to add, I don't have any sage. I do have some Celtic sea salt, which I'm going to add, and then I'll add we'll go ahead and add the 1/2 cup of olive oil. It's a lot of olive oil. All right. And then some Celtic sea salt And then we'll let that simmer for 15 minutes. Gosh, I made my first cartouche. A cartouche, C-A-R-T-O-U-C-H-E, is a French cooking technique where you take parchment paper, fold it in a square, fold it in a square again, fold it in a triangle, and then a second triangle, and then with the point of the triangle, you put the point of the triangle in the middle of the pot, and you measure up to the side of the pot, and then you cut the excess on the outer side of the cartouche, and that turns it into a circle. And then if you want to have the steam be able to escape, which I did, you cut the tip off. And I didn't have a lid, so I was just doing this just because I had read in a cooking magazine about the cartouche, and I'd never seen one in action. I've never used it, but we'll see how it does. The ratatouille is really going now. I'm going to turn it down to a slower cooking and let it. It's been 30 minutes. Time to take off the top, or the cartouche, and let us stir. And look how this, whoa, look at this beautiful, oh my gosh, everything looks nice and tender and melded. Hey, I'm going to jump in here real quickly and just say following this, I'm going to read to you from a cookbook, a country cookbook about the season that we're in, which is the turning of the season. It's about a 3-minute read. If that's not your thing, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching my very first YouTube cooking video. And I'm going to go for a walk, and then I'm going to go to the grocery store and buy some food to make another meal that I'll post here soon. And I just thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a great day wherever you are in the world. And let me know where you are in the world. Thank you. So I'm going to read to you a little bit from this wonderful old cookbook, Country Flavor Cookbook, published by a gentleman named Pearson. He's a New England cook, and he's really a good writer. And it speaks to this time of year, which is the end of July, the beginning of August. Year begins to ripen. There is a feeling of approaching maturity when July has ended and the year begins to follow August's path towards oncoming autumn. The 8th month is a quiet period. Sticky, humid days follow one another as time plods along on slow, reluctant feet. Dawns are wringing wet, and water drips from moisture-darkened farmhouse shingles. Cobwebs on the lawn are shining jeweled lace patterns as slanting sun rays illumine dewdrops. Twice in that period of time man labels a year, nature seems to pause and gather its strength for the climactic change ahead. In February and again in August, he who is sensitive to the turning year can feel the consolidation. Now, while corn flings out golden tassels and Queen Anne's white beauty brightens dusty roadsides, the great plan goes steadily forward. Swelling apples begin to weigh down the branches, and wild blackberry canes bend with strings of gleaming black beads. Beneath the apparent lassitude and quietness of August days, anciently ordained forces are steadily pressing forward. For after the period of plowing and planting, there comes the time of harvest. Since time immemorial, man has placed seeds in earth's warming breast, in full confidence that in due time he would reap even as he sowed.